I would like to thank you for coming. I'd like to welcome you all to the college's celebration of Yom HaShoah. I just have a few words to say. My name is Dr. Aldo Brunacci. I'm a member of the faculty of the college and its dean. And again, my warmest welcome to all of you. For those of you who know or don't know, Yom HaShoah is a day of remembrance of victims of the Holocaust. It begins really on sunset of the 27th of the Hebrew month of Nisan, which this year is April 28th. On the calendar, the Hebrew calendar, it is a week after the 7th day of Passover during the anniversary of what is known as the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. It was established by the Israeli government in 1953, and it's really become a day of commemoration by both Jewish and non-Jewish communities and individuals worldwide. In the United States, Holocaust Remembrance Day is a day that has really been set aside for remembering the victims of the Holocaust. 6 million Jews, 5 million other people. And it's reminding, really, for Americans of what can happen to a civilized people when bigotry, hatred, and indifference often go unchecked. The United States Holocaust Council, which was created by an act of Congress in 1980, was mandated to lead the nation of civic commemoration and to encourage appropriate remembrance observances throughout the country. In Hebrew, Holocaust Remembrance Day is called Yom HaShoah. And again, to remind you, again, it's a day of commemoration for the approximately 6 million Jews and 5 million others who perished in the Holocaust as a result of actions carried out by Nazi Germany and its accessories, and for the Jewish resistance of that period. Jews in the diaspora, the spreading of Jews throughout the world, may observe the day, and communities observe the day in synagogues. They observe the day in a broader Jewish community. Commemorations can range from synagogue service to community activities to educational programs. Some activities are featured when a Holocaust survivor or a second generation, as some of our readers are today, or a direct descendant of a Holocaust survivor. Some people read psalms, sing songs, hear music, have readings. Some see Holocaust films. Some communities really choose to emphasize the depth of loss that the Jews and the victims of the Holocaust. Some people even read the names of some survivors, one after the other. Some light candles. Basically, it is to dramatize the unfathomable notion of all these deaths. St. Francis College started this commemoration a few years ago by then our former president, Dr. Frank Macchiarola. But also, we should remember in this, that we celebrate the names of the righteous few, those heroes of conscience who helped many European Jews stay a step ahead of the Nazi death machine. And we recall these names in the observance of Yom HaShoah. These righteous Christians, as we'll hear about, Don Aldo, is one of these people. There are many of them, but in essence, there were too few. I remember, as Brother Owen will speak, Don Aldo, not personally, I was in Assisi this year, and I had the honor of reciting the Kaddish over his grave. These were people who provided shelter, false papers, food, and clothes to keep the Jews and other innocent people from the Nazi concentration camps. And again, we will commemorate Don Aldo today. I would like to introduce Dr. Wendy Galligan of our English department.
And thank you all for coming. Why poetry? Words have power. Auschwitz, Kristallnacht, Goebbels. Words have power. Bergen-Belsen, Zyklon B, Mengele. Words have power. The final solution. 69 years after the end of World War II, these words evoke the pure evil of Hitler's Third Reich. Words have power. Survival, endurance, remembrance. Poetry has power. The power to express the inexpressible. The power to give a voice to the seemingly voiceless. The power to allow even those who have lost hope to find a way to go on. The power to tell the truth, to allow us to mark Yom HaShoah, to bear witness, the power to remember.
Smoke rose. Smoke rose in the garden. God watched from above, and fear walked in the cool of day.
Death fugue. Black milk of daybreak, we drink it at sundown. We drink it at noon, in the morning, we drink it at night. We drink and we drink it. We dig a grave in the breezes. There one lies unconfined. A man lives in the house. He plays with the serpents. He writes. When dusk falls to Germany, your golden hair, Margareta. He writes it and steps out of doors, and the stars are flashing. He whistles his pack out. He whistles his Jews out in earth, has them dig for a grave. He commands to strike up for the dance. Black milk of daybreak, we drink you at night. We drink in the morning at noon, and we drink you at sundown. We drink and we drink you. A man lives in the house. He plays with the serpents. He writes when dusk falls to Germany. Your golden hair, Margarita. Your ashen hair, Shulamith. We dig a grave in the breezes. There one lies unconfined. He calls out, jab deeper into the earth, you lot, you others, sing now and play. He grabs at the iron in his belt, he waves it, his eyes are blue. Jab deeper, you lot with your spades, you others, play on for the dance. Black milk at daybreak, we drink you at night, we drink you at noon in the morning, we drink you at sundown, we drink and we drink you. A man lives in the house, your golden hair, Margarita, your ashen hair, Shulamith. He plays with the serpents, he calls out more sweetly, play death. Death is a master from Germany. He calls out more darkly, now stroke your strings, then as smoke you will rise into air, then a grave you will have in the clouds. There one lies unconfined. Black milk of daybreak, we drink you at night, we drink you at noon. Death is a master from Germany. We drink you at sundown, and in the morning we drink and we drink you. Death is a master from Germany. His eyes are blue. He strikes you with leaden bullets. His aim is true. A man lives in the house, your golden hair, Margarita. He sets his pack onto us. He grants us a grave in the air. He plays with the serpents and daydreams. Death is a master from Germany. Your golden hair, Margareta, your ashen hair, Shulamith.
Shipment to Maidanek. Arrived from scattered cities, several lands, intact from sea land, mountain land, and plain. Item, 6 surgeons, slightly mangled hands. Item, 3 poets, hopelessly insane. Item, a Russian mother and her child, the former with 5 gold teeth and usable shoes, the latter with 7 dresses, peasant-styled. Item, another 100,000 Jews. Item, a crippled Czech with a handmade crutch. Item, a Spaniard with a subversive laugh, 17 dozen Danes, 9 gross of Dutch. Total, precisely 1.5 million. They are sorted and marked. The method is up to you. The books must be balanced, the dispositions stated. Take care that all accounts are neat and true. Make sure that they are thoroughly cremated.
Hi everyone, I'm Steven Coburn. I'm the faculty in Fine Arts. And exactly, 2 months ago yesterday, we lost the oldest Holocaust survivor, Alice Hertzsummer. She became well known in the last few years. Now, she passed away at the age of 110, if you can imagine such a thing. And she has spoken quite eloquently in a wonderful documentary about how music was the thing that kept her going through her years in the concentration camp and kept her hope alive, and how after her release, she used music as a way of recovering herself and carrying on in spite of the horrific tragedy she had to suffer in losing her family and many years of her life. So this first work that I will perform is the tragic opening movement of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, one of her most beloved pieces.
You who live secure in your warm houses, who return at evening to find hot food and friendly faces. Consider whether this is a man who labors in the mud, who knows no peace, who fights for a crust of bread, who dies at yes or a no. Consider whether this is a woman without hair or name, with no more strength to remember, eyes empty and womb cold as a frog in winter. Consider that this has been. I commend these words to you, engrave them on your hearts. When you are in your house, when you walk on your way, when you go to bed, when you rise. Repeat them to your children, or may your house crumble, disease render you powerless, your offspring avert their faces from you.
Testimony. No, they definitely were human beings. Uniforms, boots. How to explain? They were created in the image. I was a shade. A different creator made me. And he, in his mercy, left nothing of me that would die. And I fled to him, rose weightless, blue, forgiving. I would even say apologizing. Smoke to omnipotent smoke, without image or likeness.
At all times I see them. The moon brilliant, the black shaft looms up. Beneath it, harnessed men haul an immense cart, dragging that giant wagon which grows bigger as the night grows. Their bodies are divided among their dust, their hunger, and their trembling. They are carrying the road, they are carrying the land, the bleak potato fields, and all they know is the weight of everything, the burden of the skylines, and the falling bodies of their companions, which almost grow into their own as they lurch, living layers treading in each other's footsteps. The villages stay clear of them, the gateways withdraw, the distance that has come to meet them reels away, back. Staggering, they wade knee-deep in the low, dark, muffled clatter of their wooden clogs as through invisible leaf litter. Already, their bodies belong to silence, and they thrust their faces towards the height as if they strained for a sense of the faraway celestial thoughts. Because prepared for their coming like an open cattle yard, its gates flung savagely back, death gapes to its hinges.
Righteous Among the Nations, Memories of Don Aldo Brunacci. Don Aldo Brunacci was born in Italy in the town of Assisi in 1914, and he died there 93 years later in February of 2007. He was ordained to the Catholic priesthood in 1938, and for the most part, he lived the life of a simple parish priest. However, in 1977, at the age of 63, his name was inscribed at the Yad Vashem Memorial in Israel, in the revered honor roll entitled Righteous Among the Nations. The expressed purpose of this renowned muster is to enshrine the names and deeds of those Gentiles who displayed heroic virtue in the fight to save Jewish men, women, and children during the Holocaust. How did all of this come about? And why can it be said that Don Aldo Brunacci was truly a righteous man among the nations? On September 8th, 1943, Monsignor Giovanni B. Montini, a high official in the Vatican Secretariat of State, later Pope Paul VI, sent a letter to Giuseppe P. Nicolini, the Bishop of Assisi, instructing him to do all that he could to shelter Jews in Assisi. But why Assisi? At that time, there were no Jews living in Assisi. Nevertheless, because of the strange contingencies that desperate wars can so easily bring about, Assisi had become geographically vital to any effort to save the Jews who were living in Italy. With substantial German military forces pushing down from the north and Allied forces pressing up from the south, Jews were naturally drawn to central Italy, to Umbria, and thus to the town of Assisi. Jews from such northern Italian cities as Padua, Modena, Milan, and Venice were joined in Assisi by Jews from the cities in the south, especially Naples and Rome. Don Aldo, under conditions of the strictest secrecy, was entrusted by his bishop with the daunting task of organizing and coordinating all efforts to save Jews in Assisi for the duration of the war. A crucial question naturally follows. What was Don Aldo's plan to fulfill the charge of his bishop? Basically, it was quite simple and had only two parts: concealment and conformity. Concealment was first. Don Aldo realized that Jews had to be hidden before anything else could be done. In the Diocese of Assisi in 1943, there were 26 monasteries and convents, and Don Aldo made use of almost all of them as hideouts. Conformity was second. After the proper documents were prepared, Jews would be relocated to private residences, where Don Aldo hoped to establish patterns of family life and employment. He stressed the importance for the children to receive formal instruction in Jewish education, and did everything he could to assist the refugee community of Assisi in the observance of all the Jewish holy days. Many of the refugees who lived in Assisi at that time recalled with deep emotion the efforts of Don Aldo to make their observance of Yom Kippur in the fall of 1943 very special indeed. If concealment and conformity were the goal of Don Aldo's strategy, then what kind of tactics did he employ to accomplish this end? There were three in number: strict secrecy, prudent cooperation, and ingenious deceptions. On the matter of secrecy, Don Aldo disclosed the complete details of his plan only to his bishop, Giuseppe Niccolini. From September 1943 to June 1944, no one but the bishop knew the full scope of his operation. On the matter of prudence, Don Aldo took only 3 other persons into his confidence. Father Rufino Nicacci, OFM, the guardian of the Friary of San Damiano, who was responsible for hiding Jews in monasteries and convents. Luigi Brizzi, a printer and typographer from Foligno, who was responsible for the preparation of forged documents. And Trento Brizzi, the son of Luigi, who served as Don Aldo's tireless messenger between Assisi and the neighboring towns. Lastly, on the matter of deception, Don Aldo had the foresight to hide all the original documents of Jewish refugees in one place, in an alcove behind a secret wall in the basement of the official residence of the Bishop of Assisi. In addition, all forged documents were produced outside of Assisi, in Foligno mostly, using Italian names carefully drawn from the lists of Sicilian and Southern Italian registers. This was done so that their authenticity could not be checked, because both areas had been occupied by the Allied armies since September 1943. Finally, Don Aldo moved the refugees frequently from one monastery or convent to another, because he believed that this practice disposed them to maintain a constant sense of vigilance. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you that I am very reluctant to speak about lessons to be learned. The Holocaust of the Jewish people from 1933 to 1945, the Shoah which we remember today, is a mystery of evil utterly beyond time and telling. To even suggest that there are lessons here borders on an obscenity. Still, the blessed memory of Don Aldo Brunacci, that truly righteous man, prompts me to share my understanding of 3 convictions he believed in very deeply. First, that a vast indifference to the fate of Jews contaminated the whole of Europe after 1933 and prepared the ground for the Holocaust. Second, that the moral collapse of a technically advanced and culturally sophisticated Germany instigated and sustained the wicked designs of the Holocaust from the beginning to the very end of the war. And third, that the only decent human response to the presence of unspeakable evil is resolute moral action, not words, but deeds, the unflinching exercise of moral courage by individual men and women. This last ideal, I believe, was Don Aldo's consolation and hope. As he said so often, the good actions of even one person can make a profound difference.
Lullaby. Yesterday I perished and did not give birth to you, child. My day went down with the shadows, your morrows still dumb and blind. Like a glint in the eye of the sunset, yesterday I went down. And you, in the dawn, have not yet unfurled your blossoming rose crown. The wind has put out my brightness, your flames not yet aglow. Between yesterday and tomorrow hardens the hell of now. There was a splendid story I studied my whole life long. I have told it to you, my baby, in hushed, nostalgic song. That somewhere on distant acres, a peasant plows the earth. From clouds, from the mouths of horses, a vapor comes steaming forth. And a gang of young birds circles above them in the skies. From sweat that falls on the acres, wheat and joy will rise. This is what I have told you, a story of blossoms and bread. But you were not born, the story of life, is death instead. Neither will your sunrise, nor did my hope get sown. In the great graveyard of the present, our graves will never be known.
Just want to say that my grandfather's ashes were among those ashes in Majdanek. So I appreciate your poem. Night over Birkenau. Night. Again. Again. The grim sky closes, circling like a vulture over the dead silence. Like a crouching beast over the camp, the moon sets, pale as a corpse. And like a shield abandoned in battle, blue Orion, lost among the stars, the transports growl in darkness, and the eyes of the crematorium blaze. It's steamy, stifling, sleep is a stone. Breath rattles in my throat. This lead foot crushing my chest is the silence of 3 million dead. Night. Night without end. No dawn comes. My eyes are poisoned from sleep, like God's judgment on the corpse of the earth. Fog descends over Birkenau.
Never shall I forget. Never shall I forget that night, the first night in the camp, which has turned my life into one long night, 7 times cursed and 7 times sealed. Never shall I forget that smoke. Never shall I forget the little faces of the children, whose bodies I saw turned into wreaths of smoke beneath a silent blue sky. Never shall I forget those flames which consumed my faith forever. Never shall I forget that nocturnal silence which deprived me of all eternity of the desire to live. Never shall I forget those moments which murdered my God and my soul and turned my dreams to dust. Never shall I forget these things, even if I'm condemned to live as long as God Himself. Never.
At Terrazin. When a new child comes, everything seems strange to him. What, on the ground I have to lie? Eat black potatoes? No, not I. I've got to stay. It's dirty here. The floor, why look, it's dirt, I fear. And I'm supposed to sleep on it? I'll get all dirty. Hear the sound of shouting cries, and oh, so many flies. Everyone knows flies carry disease. Ooh, something bit me. Wasn't that a bedbug? Here in Terrazin, life is hell. And when I go home again, I can't yet tell. Terrazin. That bit of filth in dirty walls, and all around barbed wire, and 30,000 souls who sleep, who once will wake, and once will see their own blood spilled. I was once a little child, 3 years ago, that child who longed for other worlds. But now I am no more a child, for I have learned to hate. I am a grown-up person now. I have known fear. Bloody words and a dead day then. There's something different than boogeymen. But anyway, I still believe I only sleep today, that I'll wake up a child again and start to laugh and play. I'll go back to childhood sweet like a briar rose, like a bell that wakes us from a dream, like a mother with an ailing child loves him with aching woman's love. How tragic then is youth that lives with enemies, with gallows ropes. How tragic then for children on your lap to say, this for the good, that for the bad. Somewhere, far away out there, childhood sweetly sleeps along that path among the trees, there over that house that was once my pride and joy. There my mother gave me birth into this world so I could weep. In the flame of candles by my bed I sleep, and once perhaps I'll understand that I was such a little thing, as little as the song. These 30,000 souls who sleep among the trees will wake, open an eye, and because they see a lot, they'll fall asleep again. Fear. Today the ghetto knows a different fear. Close in its grip, death wields an icy sky. An evil sickness spreads a terror in its wake. The victims of its shadow weep and writhe. Today a father's heartbeat tells his fright, and mothers bend their head into their hands. Now children choke and die with typhus here. A bitter tax is taken from their bands. My heart still beats inside my breast, while friends depart for other worlds. Perhaps it's better, who can say, than watching this, to die today. No, no, my God, we want to live, not watch our numbers melt away. We want to have a better world. We want to work. We must not die. The butterfly. The last, the very last. So richly, brightly, dazzlingly yellow. Perhaps if the sun's tears would sing against a white stone. Such a yellow is carried lightly way up high. It went away, I'm sure, because it wished to kiss the world goodbye. For 7 weeks I've lived in here, penned up inside this ghetto. But I have found what I love here. The dandelions call to me, and the white chestnut branches in the court. Only I never saw another butterfly. That butterfly was the last one. Butterflies don't live in here, in the ghetto.
thank you all for attending this commemoration of Yom HaShoah. I would like to very publicly thank Wendy Galligan, who did a fantastic job. I'd like to thank our students. I would like to thank our faculty, all second generation, and a special thanks to Anya, our third generation, for participating.